for dreamers. Where you wanna be? Join in, connect with us. Join in, and you can see what's up. Join in, so connect with us. Join in. Ego's A-Spire, EM-Spire, Dreamspire, books for authors is on fire. A-Spire, the magazine for you. We got art and entertainment, celebrity news. M-Spire for entrepreneurs and motivators. It's demonstrated. See how they made it. Dreamspire TV is where you want to be. Extraordinary people doing extraordinary things.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Mays, and I'm your host of the Author's Lounge. Don't you go anywhere because we will be right back after this advertisement. Hi, my name is Cheryl Mays, and I am your host for the Author's Lounge. I am so excited today because you should have been here at the conversation before the interview. It was very entertaining and interesting. I am excited today because I get to bring to you another author, an author that is going to share their inspiration, their motivation, and their passion as to why they put the words to paper and then gave you the opportunity to read about it. And today we are going to meet with Kerry Brackett. So don't go anywhere, stay tuned, and we will be right back. Hi. Hey, Kerry, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. I am so excited that you are actually here with me today because we are going to not only talk about your book, but my gosh, all of the other things that you have going on. I was sharing that we should have been here before the interview because we had a great conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So I am going to give you a proper introduction. With us today on the Author's Lounge, we have Kerry Brackett. Kerry is a poet that goes by the name of Kerry B. He is an award-winning spoken word artist, an author who uses hip-hop and jazz influences for his poetry. He has carried very powerful messages, and he is the author of 4 books. One is called The Soul Appetizer, A Sampler, An Open Table, and then the book we're going to talk about today is Surviving Myself. But wait, it doesn't stop there. There's more. He has also released 4 spoken word CDs: Midnight Sunrise, Sunful Seductions, Urban Gridot, and then The Cadence of a Poetic Gentleman. And yes, there is still one more piece that I want to add. Kerry is also a National Poetry Award winner in the 2014 for the Freedom Poet of the Year, and he is a member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Wow, I am so excited to be able to have you on. One, because your focus is in a area of my heartstrings, spoken word. I was sharing with you earlier, my daughter also does spoken word. And so tell us about you, Carrie. Where did all of this come from? How did it start?
It actually started out as a dare. I was a freshman in college, and we actually had a talent show. So I wasn't going to participate, but next thing I knew, the host shouted out my name, and I'm looking around like maybe it's another person that has my name. But my roommate started yelling. He's like, "Oh, that's you." So I realized that he actually put my name on the list after hearing my poems, in our room and what have you. So I went up, read one of my poems, and this is in front of the whole campus, by the way. Had a great reception, so I'm thinking, okay, that was it. Next thing I know, I'm getting invites to open mics, poetry readings, poetry slams, and this is not just on campus, but pretty much the whole state.
Wow.
So, so I was like, okay, maybe I have something, good here. So after that, I just started pursuing it. So
That is awesome. And so now this was how long ago? What age were you?
I
I don't
was
want to tell
18
your
at the
age,
time.
but just tell us when it started.
This was my freshman year in college, so I was 18 at the time, just turned 18.
Wow, that is awesome. And so you literally use this poetry because you have a collection of poetry work.
Yes,
And so you literally use this to for self-identity, for history. It says that you have a range of themes and you are not afraid to hit those complex emotional issues.
right.
So tell us about that. What has poetry done for you that made you want to go, you know what? It's helped me. Maybe it can help someone else.
Poetry definitely served as an avenue of therapy for me,
Mm,
especially growing up where you had different issues, whether it was self identity or going through in the inner city where you see police brutality, you see black on black crime all the time. But how can I voice that? I couldn't just go to the classroom and tell people about it. I couldn't
mm,
I couldn't find anybody else to talk about it because other than that, it was just a general conversation. So when I started, using poetry as therapy, I realized that, it helped me, overcome those issues. But at the same time, it also encouraged others that didn't have that power to voice their opinions. To see if he's doing it, then I can do it too. So with that, I started focusing on, publishing my poetry, started recording, started performing everywhere. And I wanted to make sure that, I attacked those issues because a lot of times people may be afraid to attack those issues because they might be,
mm.
they might say, oh, I'm scared of what people might say or what have you. But if that's your opinion, that's your feelings, then you shouldn't have the fear to be yourself.
No, I think that is such a great message because, again, right, you mentioned about where we are today. If we look at where we are today, and there are so many feelings and emotions involved in what seems like every conversation, and to be able to express that, sometimes you do feel as though you don't know what to say.
Right. Because the thing about it, because yeah, you're right. Because when we're in the times that we're at today, there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of anger, there's a
Hmm.
lot of pain. But how do we address that? Some people, may choose to do, illegal things, might choose the wrong thing to do. But
Hmm.
what's the alternative? A lot of people are saying, okay, this is not the right way, but they're not giving us the alternative. What is the right way? So um, a lot of poets and spoken word artists, they're using this gift to actually tell them, hey, this is what's going on. This is our pain. This is our viewpoint. Others might just see what's just, just the surface of it. But, with poetry, you're able to dive in to actually, open this wound and say, hey, this is what I'm exactly feeling.
Hmm. And it's such a great outlet, or a freedom outlet. And so this book, this collection of work in surviving myself, We're going to talk about that. Listen, don't you go anywhere. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about Kerry's book, Surviving Myself, which is a collection of poems. And we're also going to have a reading from Kerry later on. So you definitely want to come back right after this commercial. If you have a trailer and you're an author and you'd like to see your commercial on the show, let us know. Here's what a commercial trailer looks like. Hi, I am here with Kerry Brackett, Kerry Poet B, Poet Kerry B, who is also a spoken word artist. And we are going to hear about his new collection, Surviving Myself. So tell us, Kerry, about the book itself. How did it come about? What is it that you would like people to know from the book? And then I've got some really interesting questions to ask you that you've answered already.
Yes. So Surviving Myself is definitely a poetry collection. It was actually dedicated to each battle that I have endured, in my lifetime. So with the topics that I've covered in the book, you have some self-identity, some history, other health, health issues that I dealt with, along with other topics that, people may be, too afraid to talk about. The manuscript actually started as a thesis project from my master's degree program. The final project was to be a poetry manuscript. So, basically all of my poetry writing that I did in classes, we did it all as a collection. And it was interesting because I actually sat on it for a couple of years because I didn't really, feel inspired to actually push it out yet. Because I already had, two other poetry books. So I was thinking, okay, this is not my time yet. But as time progressed, you start seeing all these issues as far as like mental health in the community, also testimony, definitely, the identity, what is the identity of our community, So I felt that, with this collection, I felt that this was the right time to, not only to tell people, hey, these, you can talk about these topics, but also inspire others that may not have the confidence to talk about it, to give them that confidence, to, put it out there.
Yeah, I love this. I love this concept. And you actually had an experience when you first found out that poetry was significant, that language actually had power. And you talked about your talent show in college. And so the poem that you did was Black Tears. And
Yeah.
so tell us a little bit about that experience, because that, I'm assuming, was what led to this book.
That actually was, it led to me, having the confidence to write about, different difficult issues. Black Tears actually talked about, violence in the community. What about, the lack of the Black father in the household, so on and so forth. So, I wrote about different issues all in, one poem. And it was so interesting, when I put it out there, when I performed it, people were snapping and they were applauding to it because, they agreed with, okay, yeah, that's something that needs to be talked about. So after that, I had got invited to recite the same poem in different forums and different open mics because that was a message that people needed to hear. And what was so interesting, when I started performing more and more often, it actually initiated conversations, within our community about, okay, how can we attack this issue? Or how can we address the pain associated with, the violence and so on and so forth. So that's when I knew that, okay, there is true power in, not only just poetry writing, but also in spoken word out. So.
And now Surviving Myself, which is available at your website.
Yes.
And I am going to put that up here because I want you guys to go to the website and I want you to get this book available at kerrybpoetry.com. So you definitely can go to the website. You can get the book.
Yes.
And so tell us, what is your message that you want people to walk away with after they've read this collection of poetry?
Uh, I want everyone to understand that they are not alone as far as enduring the daily struggles in their life. I use poetry in my life to actually as a therapy, a form of therapy, to continue on in my life. I didn't want these issues to hold me back from what I'm capable of. So with that, if I'm able to endure everything that has happened and I'm still smiling, I'm still maintaining, I'm still pushing, then I know my readers can as well. So don't let anything hold you back. Don't let anything tell you, oh, you can't or you're not able to. Don't take no for an answer because, obstacles are meant to be overcome.
That is so important. Obstacles are meant to be overcome because that is a message right there, to think about how sometimes people allow their obstacles and their circumstances to stop them from moving forward or pursuing their goals or their dreams or whatever their passions are. And to be able to share that with individuals is in a manner that, number one, they'll appreciate it. And secondly, they can go back and look at it. And, I think every time I read a poem, I always grab something different.
Right.
And so you can read the same poem 10 times, and every time you see something different or you just grab something different out of it that you hold on to. And it's kind of like depending on where you are in your life.
Right.
So definitely, guys, get this book. You got to get the book. It is available at kerrybpoetry.com. Now, I have a question because I asked you to share with us something that people do not know about you. And obviously, you are a master griller.
I love to grill. This started actually when I was in high school. And you know how you go to the family cookouts, all the women be in one area and all the men would be in another area. So I was hanging around with like my grandfather, my uncles, and so on and so forth. And we always have, conversations over the grill. And my uncle at the time, he loved to grill. So I always hung out with him. So, one point, I remember one cookout we had, he had to go somewhere. He asked me to look over, I think it was like chicken and kebabs and whatever. I was like, sure, I can look over. And it was so interesting, it was peaceful and so on and so forth. Just, make sure, the chicken don't burn and all that good stuff. And ever since then, I was like, I always volunteer, to help out as far as like cooking out and so on and so forth. And now, years later, I'm at my house, I got my own deck, got my own grill. And, anytime there's like a good, pretty day in the weekend, I'm always going to the grocery store and I always cook more than what I need to. So I always invite friends over. It's like, hey, I got a lot of food. Can you come over? Take some food. So it's definitely, a passion of mine. So
That is awesome. So literally your friends drive by and wait to see the smoke coming up from the backyard, right? It's like, hey, Kerry's barbecuing. Let's stop.
Or they'll, in the middle of the week, they'll call me or text me. So you cooking out this weekend? They already plan to come to my house. So
Well, also, listen, guys, if you happen to be in the area, and I'm just going to say Alabama, if you happen to be there and you see smoke coming up from a backyard, just ask if it's Kerry and say, hey, I saw you on the Author's Lounge, and I know I have an invitation because I know you have more than you need.
Oh, yeah, way more. So, hey, come on. Hey, we'd love to have you.
Well, Kerry, thank you so much for sharing. Listen, I do have another question for you. Actually, I have two more questions.
Okay.
One of the individuals that you said as an author that you would love to have dinner with was Walter Mosley.
Yes.
So, what is your question you would ask him, and why him?
Walter Mosley, for one, he's like my favorite all-time author. I loved him ever since his book Devil in the Blue Dress. And ever since then, I'm always reading his Phyllis Jones series or even his sci-fi collection as well. For anybody that loves sci-fi, go check out his short story collection, Futureland. It's amazing. But as far as the questions that I would ask him, I would definitely ask him about his character development in his stories. And also how did he develop, the mystery aspect, in his stories? Because it's always interesting where, he brings the mystery aspect in the story, but it's always, centered around, the LA area, in the 1970s, which was, basically a bonfire as far as culture, especially African American culture at that time, right? So it was just so interesting that he was actually able to encompass both of those aspects, in his writing style. So I would love to, pick his brain of like how did he develop, Phyllis Jones and all the other characters that we know and love in his, mystery writing. So
Well, very cool. I think that's an opportunity that we all would have, right? If we had one person that we could have dinner with, who would that person be and why?
right.
Why would that person be the one that you selected? So, guys, remember, Kerry's book, Surviving Myself, a collection of poems, is available at his website, Kerry B. Poet. I'm going to put it back up there because I want you guys to get the book. So it is available at kerrybpoetry.com. So you see it right there. So definitely get the book. Kerry, thank you so much. I do have one final question. Now, your book is available by going to your website.
Yes.
And guys, I talk about this all the time, and that's reviews. We want book reviews. So tell us, how do you feel about getting a review from a reader?
Oh, I welcome reviews all the time. It definitely helps me become better as a writer, because from one end, I might see it one way, but if another person see it another way, then I'll consider, okay, how can I push my pen even further to actually encompass all different sides of and all different viewpoints of a certain topic, right? So and we always want to become better. So why not welcome reviews from different readers?
Absolutely. So that's what you got to do. You got to write a review. It's a form of compliment. It is a opportunity for growth, and it gets the author the ability to be able to get that next book out, because nobody has just one book in them. And as long as you've been going, I do want to touch really quickly before we leave, because prior to the interview, we were talking about a group that you started on Miles College at the
Yes.
campus for young folks to actually be introduced to the concept of spoken word. So, can you briefly tell us about that in case someone is looking at starting that at one of their schools? I think that's so important to give them an outlet. So, I'm going to let you talk about it.
Yes. So I started, it's called the Golden Word Movement. It's our poetry club on Miles College campus. We actually started in 2018. We started with 6 students. Now it actually grown to 35, 36 students. What we did was just basically went over to student affairs and said, hey, we wanted to start an organization dedicated to poetry and spoken word. And they gave us, the forms to fill out and so on and so forth. And one thing about it that they asked us was like, okay, what was your mission? What was your goal as far as starting this organization? And we just basically said, hey, we want to encourage students not only just to write poetry, but become fans of poetry, because what we saw was that a lot of students had, poetry skills, but they just didn't have the platform to actually showcase their skills. So that was the whole, purpose as far as starting this organization. So we've grown to, competing in poetry slams, to hosting shows on campus, to we actually had a couple students working on manuscripts now to actually publish their own chapbooks and so on and so forth. So it's actually grown from, just someone just reading, certain poems and saying, hey, I like poetry, to now, hey, they're actually putting what they, they're practicing what they're preaching to their own poetry writing, So for anyone that's interested as far as like starting their own, just go to your student affairs on campus and just tell them, hey, I want to start a poetry club, and just follow the steps and so on and so forth. And like I said, if you need any help with that as far as like marketing or how to get students interested, just let me know.
And you can go to his website at kerrybpoetry.com. That'll give you an opportunity to get in contact with him. You can also follow him on Facebook. And what's your handles again on Facebook?
Facebook is Poet Kerry B.
Poet Kerry B. He is also on Twitter and Instagram. So you got to follow this guy, because I'm telling you, this is some amazing pieces of poetry that he has and doing some amazing things with students' work. So thank you so much, Kerry, for joining us. Don't you go anywhere. Guys, I want you to do me a favor right now. I want you to grab your phone and I want you to hold it up to the screen here. When you do that, you will be able to go right to our Dream Books, our dreamspirebooks.com website, where you will see Kerry's book, you will see this interview, you will be able to see the reading that he is going to conduct for us, as well as some of the other authors. We have more than 100 titles. So definitely go to the website. It's just that easy. Take a picture of this. If you have an Apple, if you have an Android, then go to your Google Lens and you can snap a picture and it will direct you directly to our website. So I want to make sure that you guys do that. And thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Cheryl Mays, and this is the Authors Lounge. Please continue to follow us on Instagram, join our fan page, our group on Facebook. We have multiple ways for you to actually follow us. And don't forget, YouTube. Go to Dreamspire Publications and subscribe, so that way you can be alerted whenever a video actually comes into place. So I just want to say thank you so very much for joining us. You can always connect with us on dreamspiretv.com, dreamspirebooks.com, and we would love to have you. Definitely subscribe, join the group, follow us. Have an amazing day.